Mother Jews are Jewish, are they not? Part 6. Now, we're going to turn to a more difficult part of the paper, and this is a bit like mental mountain climbing. When some things are not clear from the Torah or from the Gemara, we have to turn to the commentators, and probably the greatest commentator of all is Rashi. And I'll try to explain what Rashi, and this is the third source, what the reasoning of Rashi is. First of all, let's look again at the pasuk in Va'etchanan. You shall not intermarry with them, you shall not give your daughter to his son, and you shall not take his daughter for your son, for he will cause your child to turn away from after me, and they will worship the gods of others. Well, we could not read into this pasuk how it is that mother Jews are considered Jewish according to the halakha. So let's see how Rashi is going to explain that. First of all, I want to come back to the 2 points of attention that I mentioned before. For he will turn away your child from me. And we concluded that with the he is meant the non-Jewish father-in-law, Peter. For Peter will turn away your child from me. And the second point of attention was that bincha was translated by the Art Scroll translation as child, and this made perfectly sense in the context of the pasuk, because it talked about your daughter and your son that will be turned away by Peter from God. Now, Rashi can be found in the Gemara, the part of Rashi, and I will not go translate it sentence by sentence, but I will first conclude, or first say what Rashi's conclusions are, and then we'll try to analyze it. For he will turn your child away from following me, and me is God. It should be with a capital. He, according to Rashi, is not Peter, is not the non-Jewish father-in-law, but the non-Jewish son-in-law. This is one. We'll come back to it. 2, bincha is not to be translated as your child, but must be translated as your son. Again, we'll come back to this. 3, actually, says Rashi, bincha is not your son, but is your grandson. And 4th, because the Torah mentions the grandson, therefore he is Jewish. And I'll try to explain this because it's taken me a number of years to understand this. And I know it takes some time to understand what Rashi means. For he will turn your son away from following me. And Rashi says, with he is meant the son of the non-Jew, and with your son is meant your grandson, the son of your Jewish daughter. And how does Rashi come to this conclusion? Well, let's look at the senses. Rashi says, the sentence states, "For he will turn your son away from following me." And if you look at this, the sentence before that, it says, "And you shall not take his daughter for your son." And Rashi says, if this would have anything to do with the previous sentence, it should have said, "For she will turn your son away from following me." Let's look at the sentence. Okay. Rashi said, if you read the sentence like this, "And you shall not take his daughter for your son, for she, the non-Jewish daughter, will turn your son, the Jewish son, away from following me." But Rashi says, it does not say ki tasir, it says ki yasir. And therefore, you have to look at the previous sentence. "You shall not give your daughter to his son, for he, his son, for he, the non-Jewish son-in-law, will turn your son," which is actually the son of your daughter, so it is actually your grandson, "away from following me, and they will worship the gods of others." So, Rashi says, with he is meant the son of the non-Jew, and with your son is meant your grandson, the son of the Jewish daughter. And because the Torah is worried that the grandson will be lost to idolatry and turn away from God, it must be concluded that such a child is Jewish. And these are the words of Rashi. But if we look at this sentence and we read it like this, then we can only come to the conclusion that he is the non-Jewish father and not the non-Jewish son-in-law, as Rashi claims, with all respect. Now, can we question Rashi's explanation? A dwarf standing upon the shoulders of a giant can sometimes see further than a giant. Comments or questions? Please send them to motherjews1@gmail.com.